Breaking news now from Vietnam, where it's been announced.
You don't realize what is happening in the moment.
It's just impossible.
The project appeared approximately 2.5 months before the date of the show, which was scheduled to take place on a specific date. They wrote to us about it, simply sending an invitation. They explained that it is a large festival taking place in the city of Nha Trang, Vietnam, where several countries will be represented. Without much hesitation, we agreed and started discussing some details. This is the first time we have done a project in Vietnam. Some visited as tourists, others out of curiosity, but it was our first time working there. This project is essentially about the culture of Vietnam, its vibrancy, and the energy of the entire country. There were 4 teams, each of which is a well-known company in its field, and each prepared its animation well with a unique touch. The location was quite challenging because it was a very small area to accommodate both 2 large drone show teams and a huge stage, as well as the audience. It is worth noting that the venue where we worked is on an island. Accordingly, we took the cable car there every day. And on the way back, since we finished late at night, we were transported by boat. The difficulty of this location was also that the audience was very close to the animation display area. Therefore, we spent quite a bit of time conducting small tests in the air to check the actual perception of the dimensions of our animation.
As soon as it gets to evening, I completely run out of energy to work. I don't know if it's the heat affecting me or if it's because we wake up quite early. It's just impossible.
There were moments when we were faced with rain, and it was a problem because we had to postpone tests.
Started testing, not very good.
We started preparing for the full test. The organizers approached us, and it is announced that, unfortunately, all events in Vietnam, especially entertainment events, are cancelled.
Breaking news now from Vietnam, where it's been announced the Communist Party chief, Nguyen Phu Trong, has died.
He had served 13 years as chief of the ruling Communist Party, presiding over economic and geopolitical transformations.
At first, it was a postponement there for a week, but shortly after, we were finally approved for a new final date for the postponement, which differed from the first by 2 weeks. And it was important for us to understand whether we should keep the team and participate in this festival, because there are many other parallel projects where this team was needed. And we definitely understood to some extent when we were defending this project that if the team leaves now, it is unlikely that it will be able to return because we have other projects that this team may be taken for. Changing the team halfway through seemed indeed inappropriate to us, because this team already knew all the details, had conducted all the necessary tests on site, and had already worked with this specific fleet. It was decided that we would stay for 2 weeks, the period during which we needed to wait for the final show.
It has been almost 2 weeks since our stay in Vietnam. We have already merged with the local culture.
We were provided with 10 volunteers that helped us directly. They assisted us with the setup, battery replacements, charging, turning devices on and off, and collecting drones. Although we usually try to conduct some introductory briefing, this was probably the shortest. They quickly got into the topic and performed all tasks. The team was fully prepared, the animation was completely tested. All drones were ready, all batteries were charged, and then we received news that the weather was deteriorating significantly. We also certainly had concerns related to technical details. In the very small space where we were performing, there was a lot of external equipment operating, including television equipment that was broadcasting live on the national channel of Vietnam. Our team of pilots and the technical team checked everything in advance and just made sure that nothing would interfere with us. When you are very much on the way to launching the show, you don't realize what is happening in the moment. If I were to answer the question of how the performance went, I don't remember how the performance went. The animation itself was simply wonderful. All the viewers were thrilled. Everyone really enjoyed it very much. They all watched the sky tirelessly. Not only did the drones fly well, but the animation was also prepared at the highest level. It was one of the best animations, and it was indeed completely seamless. That is, the transition from one figure to another was practically seamless. If you look closely, each drone did not just take its position and light up. All the drones were constantly in motion. This is very clearly seen in the figure with the dragon. Personally, I was thrilled by the star that we launched specifically from the pyro drones. And I really like the drum. It is such a huge, very beautiful circle with patterns inside. This was the first time we participated in the format of a live championship. When you are not just submitting an application to participate in the competition after the fact, but you are participating here and now. You see these teams, you communicate with them, you compete with them to some extent, then you become friends and interact in an informal setting. This was really our first such experience, and we waited a long time for the result. A silence fell, as there was a period when we were just waiting for the results. All three teams were announced, except for us. For just a moment, it seemed to me that yes, indeed, everyone would have 4 identical prizes.
We announce the champion of Airbook Glamour Attack 2024 in Vietnam!
It was the Champions Cup, and that meant we won. We won. The moment they brought out the trophy was really very inspiring like that. It was truly very pleasant and very joyful. Since I was the only one on stage while our team was actively preparing and gathering the drones, the guys didn't really pay much attention to what was happening on stage. I just ran to our guys to congratulate and hug each one of them. I wanted to shout out loud in the whole square that we won, and guys, it's our shared achievement. It was a very sincere joy, almost with tears, because we really worked hard for this. We waited a long time for our performance. It's worth a lot. It turned out that in addition to the championship, we also won a certificate from the Guinness World Records. In the nomination, related to one of the figures, it was a bird figure that was simply of gigantic scale and made up of the largest number of drones. There were 1,000 drones in that bird, and we became the holders of another Guinness record. We talked to the organizers of the entire festival, and they told us that they thoroughly enjoyed our performance very much. Our performance was very well received by the audience, not only by those who were in the square, but also by those who watched the live broadcast. It is heavy. You can't really imagine how extremely difficult it was to transport it, because we didn't dare to check it in as luggage, and we were very concerned about the potential risks. And all the way back to Dubai, we carried it just literally like this in our hands. This is our cup, the first of its kind, but I'm sure it won't be the last.